Welcome to Future People, conversations with the change makers, impact makers, and the future shapers. Future People is a bold, future-focused podcast hosted by myself, Dan Moussa, founder of Thirdway Advisory. Join me for unfiltered conversations with the leaders who are rethinking value, legacy, and indeed their own leadership in a world that's being rebuilt, from our cities to our climate and our culture. These conversations are not to be missed. Welcome to episode 1, the first ever episode of Future People, and delighted to be joined in Brisbane this morning by Marrin Boyd-Andrews. Marrin, welcome.
Thank you.
Marrin is the founder and director of ProPrompt, a online prompt template platform, which we'll jump into, but certainly a trailblazer at the intersection of AI and talent acquisition, and now more beyond that, which we'll jump into too, Marrin. But I guess before we jump into ProPrompt and all things AI, and there's a lot to unpack, and I think probably to almost simplify and break down for people. But tell us briefly about your own background, your journey, I guess, through talent acquisition, and how you found yourself now so immersed in the world of AI.
Yeah, it's a long journey, and I think a few people have probably heard it before, but I'll give you a very brief summary on it. I tripped and stumbled into recruitment. I was a DJ for 20 years. And needed to change my career, and I needed my weekends back, right? It was like everyone parties when I'm working. So I went to go for an interview for a particular job, and I met this director who ran this recruitment agency, and he said, "Have you ever thought about recruitment?" I'm going, "What's recruitment?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I've got a desk out there and it's oil and gas." And I said, "What's oil and gas?" I was so in another world. Anyway, he said to me, "Can you go away?" He goes, "and come back and tell me how you build a chair." And I thought, this guy's nuts, mate. What's this all about? But I took the challenge. And because I was coding at home, I had all my days free from DJing. So I taught myself how to code. So I thought, I'm going to go in, I'm going to animate it. So I animated this chair spinning and the legs fitting on and going into it. Went back. I presented about 2 minutes of this. He goes, "Great, just wanted to know if you know process." And I went, "Okay, all right, fantastic." He goes, "Yep, there's a desk in there." He goes, "I'll teach you everything you need to know." And within about a week, I was placing people. And I was like, he's going, "How are you doing this?" I'm going, "Mate, I'm just coding. I'm coding and I'm finding people." And he goes, "What do you mean coding?" He goes, "Right, you're not a recruiter anymore." He goes, "You're talent sourcing." I went, "All right, I'm talent sourcing." He goes, "And you're going to source for everybody here." And I was like, "Okay, great. All right, I'll do that." So I very quickly found myself in a position where I was sourcing more than others. And from there, it just developed to the point where I was finding that the industry was seeing sourcing as more of a resourcer, just sit behind the recruiter. And it was a function in itself. So it became more and more a function in the business. So I ended up working with teams and ended up managing teams of talent sources and teaching them how to code, teaching them how to find people and write bots and pull data and rather than just your generic. Well, but back then it was the old Blackberries, right? Yeah. Blackberries and all that sort of stuff, and the old database. Everyone had files and folders full of information. But yeah, we were pulling information from the internet that was free and available. So we found talent that way.
So, well, the world's just getting to grips with AI and sourcing from that perspective. You've been doing it for way longer. Like, tell me about, I guess, the early years. Was it just creating? Were you like creating really sort of early bots, or how were you? How were you doing it?
Yeah, so I think the good part was I was writing originally apps and for Apple and Android, and I was writing apps. So I very quickly learned how to code and what to do. But I found that once I got into recruitment, I could do the same thing. So I was writing bots that could sit up and become an extension into the browser. So every time I did something, it'd go, "Great, grab all that information," and I was able to then find them, reach out to them, and go for it. So it became very clear to me really early that the sourcing piece was so wide. I had to automate or innovate it pretty fast, so that things would just do things for me. So before AI arrived, we were sort of doing it, but it was all extra. It was like a program for this, or I'd write a bot for that, or and that's the way that I started to put it all together. So if AI was back then, it would have been amazing. But yeah, we had to create these because they weren't there.
Interesting, and it's it's really, I find it, I'm fascinated by the sourcing piece because I'm thinking it's interesting, and everyone's talking about AI generically and in the world at the moment. But from my own point of view, talking about like search and recruitment, I think actually for the first time, it's a great like leveler in the industry. It's probably for the first time ever, people in theory have got access to the same tools, the same platforms, the same technology. So it's just the sourcing is now a level playing field. Level playing field. So what can you offer beyond that in terms of value add and process and consultative value?
Yeah. AI's leveled everything. You've nailed exactly what's happened. So before, you're as good as what tech you knew or what you didn't know or what you could buy or the rest. But now AI can do everything. It can code for you, and it can create a bot, and it can do JSON files, and it can create systems, apps, platforms, websites. It can do all of that. So it's brought everyone back to a level playing field. And in saying that, I speak a lot at a lot of places where people go, oh my God, I'm never going to catch up. I go, look, the next model that comes out, we're all back to square one because we're now learning what that model can do and learning what the next model can do. So every time that happens, you're up to pace with everybody. Yeah.
So that's a good point. So before we jump into ProPrompt specifically, like let's just break down AI, because I think there's probably still a lot of people listening to this who are like, get AI, but don't really. And we hear things like, let's just run through some of the main terms, like open AI versus closed AI. Like, if someone's sat at home using ChatGPT and there's like, what's safe to put in there, what's not safe to put in there. Maybe let's just paint a general picture about AI, where it stands now, and should people be embracing it, using it, fearing it?
Yeah, okay. So the best way to think of AI is just like you would if you're working for a company. Your knowledge is the difference of what makes AI great, right? So that's your IP. So what you've got to do is protect your IP. So everything you put in there, just know it's training a language model. It's training that so your IP is getting out and other people can learn off you, because if they search it up and it's learned from you something that goes into the language model, someone else can learn it, right? So what I tend to think is the best way moving forward is to have your own language model at home. You can have locked off ones. There's open AI, which means that it's connected to a large language model. It's reading everything. It's knowledgeable on everything that's out there. But you can have your own language model at home. I've got two that plug into my laptop, and that's my own language model, and my IP stays there. It doesn't have web access, but I can use it just like ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, whatever, and I can add different language models as well. So you can go, download the latest Gemini, download the latest but it stays with me, so it's locked off. So people who are looking to be safe within it, the main things to remember is protect your IP just like you would with a company, protect your own information and all your documents just like you would for a company. You've got to think of it just like you would with a company. So you don't give personal information, you don't give names, you don't give companies, that sort of stuff. You can work within it without having to do that.
I gave ChatGPT on my blood test last week, so someone out there knows my knows my full blood count.
I'm really worried now. It's sitting in our emails too, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I was like, whoa.
And WhatsApp, I think, so as of last week, WhatsApp as well, right? So I think if you're in a WhatsApp group now and you can access.
It does, yeah. Actually, there's phone numbers now you can put into WhatsApp, and you can link up ChatGPT, I think Gemini, and I'm pretty sure it's Perplexity, and you put the phone number in and you add it to your WhatsApp. And what you can do, you can just chat with it free. So you can just use it. You can use it straight through your WhatsApp, just like you would going to ChatGPT on your laptop. It's pretty cool.
I think I'm becoming one of those people who can't keep up with all the developments that are coming out. I guess one last thing to touch on too is and we speak about like the language learning models, right? And I think that's something, a term we hear a lot of behind AI. So AI, because there's AI and there's Gen AI, right?
Yep.
AI, as we know it now, is primarily learning language models, right?
Correct. Yep. Large language models. That's right. Yeah. So, and they learn off you with everything. But now you're going to the agentic stuff now, which is where you can automate stuff. So it's gone from, hey, just do this, and it chats backwards and forwards, to the agentic knows rules. So it says, when I say this or when I do this, you're going to then do that after it, and that after it, and that after it. That's called a RAG system. They set up on it. And the idea is that it's either going to sit in a conversation piece or you're going to sit in an automation piece. There's two forms of AI. So most companies or most professionals out there now are going, all right, do I need a chat bot for that, like an agent that I can talk to that's knowledgeable and trained on all the information I need, or do I need to automate that bit of work? And a lot of businesses are sitting there, right? At the moment, you've got businesses out there going, I've got 600 staff and they're all at different levels. so we need to take these people on a journey and we need to find out where they're at and all the rest of it. So having the choice of going, well, in that process, that what they do over there, that's just process driven. We can automate that. That's just something that needs to go into the database. We can automate that, but you keep the human element part there, right? So that's called a human in the loop, right, is what they call it. So it's where you're using agentic, but there's points where still the human has to pop in, right? So you're not eliminating the human, but you're automating the stuff that takes time, is admin heavy. It takes someone 3 hours every Tuesday to do, that sort of thing. It removes that part.
I think there'll be a lot of people relieved to hear about the human loop, because I think there's still that, I guess, fear across the world. Right?
HITL is amazing because everyone is scared they're going to lose their job.
HITL is human
in the loop.
In the loop, yeah.
Yeah, right. So and that's the part that people need to remember, that's the future of having exceptionally good talent in your business. Eliminating the stuff that you can automate, eliminating the stuff that you need to, that's just admin heavy, but it allows the human to come in and check it and go, okay, AI's just done that. I need to check it. Yep, that's great. Move on. And then it might do 4 other processes, and then there's another human in the loop, and there's another human in the loop. And that's where businesses will get to. Yeah.
But are we getting to a stage with like the advancement and it's learning that human in the loop becomes, less and less, right, as time goes on, or is less reliance for human checking? Do you think that'll always sort of be there and be retained?
There's things that a human has that AI doesn't. AI is artificial intelligence. The reason why it's artificial is it only understands what you have explained something feels like or something is experienced or lived, right? So, for example, if you're driving a car and that feel of the car taking off and pushing your body back and stuff like that, AI can never understand that because it's never sat in the car, held the wheels and pushed back, right? But to have a human experience to describe that, it can only imitate back what it feels like. It's never done it, right? So all those lived experiences that a human has, all the stuff that someone might have 10 years, 20 years experience, even 5 years experience, that's really important, valuable knowledge that makes AI great. AI without that is nothing. It's just spewing up the same information that it knows off the internet and all the rest of it. So by doing that, you're basically saying, hey, look, it's like what we do with the prompts, right? Yeah. We have a prompt, it's a template, this is the instructions, but all the variables you put in there is the important part. That's the stuff where you go, in this, I need you to speak to I've got these people in there. This is the outcome I want from the meeting. I want this sort of tone. I need this, all those key things are the human learnt experiences that AI needs to know to have a great prompt, which has a great response. Yeah.
Glad you brought our prompt in there, because we're going to jump into the business you founded. So ProPrompt, an online prompt template platform. But why don't we dive into that? Just tell us exactly what ProPrompt is.
Sure.
Why you founded it, what your goals are for it, and then we can actually jump into prompting as well, right? Because that's,
sure.
I think, key to success. I'm learning as I use AI more and more is actually how much of a prompt you give it, or how detailed a prompt you give it makes all the difference, right? It's pretty much key to success, isn't it?
Sure, it is. It is. I'll start how it came into my world. I was with Microsoft. I was in a sourcing role, sourcing consultancy role with them, and AI, so ChatGPT got released. No, we're released, I should say, to Microsoft. So we had this early access. We had this access where I was going, what's this tool, And I spent more time with the developers, which sat over to my left. I was spending more times with them, and the more that we spoke and the more that I was hearing what they were thinking and all the rest, we quickly realised this is going to change the world, right? And in Change the World, we also went, people don't know how to talk to this. Everything needs a prompt. Everything needs to be prompted. So very quickly, I started writing prompts for sourcing. And I ended up building a prompt stack of like 40 prompts that were my go-to. When I'm sourcing for that, I use that prompt. When I'm doing that, I do that prompt. The next step I found is that the templates didn't work for everything, right? So what I started doing is I started building variables into the prompts. So I could have a template for, say, talent insights. And what I'd do is I'd leave the key stuff out that I could change for every particular role. So I'm now searching for an engineering manager. I'm now searching for a marketing manager. I'm now searching for an exec. And you just change those variables. They need to have these skills. They've got to be in this location. I just copy it, paste it in there, and it would do the whole job for me. So I quickly found that was the smart, easy way. I found with a lot of my networks that people started going, is there a prompt for that? Is there a prompt for this? Is there a prompt for that? Right?
How do you prompt it?
Yeah, is there a prompt for this? And I started going, there's a little bit of a need here, So I released what I was, I had to save it on a website so I could put the variables in it. And I ended up just renaming it, and I called it ProPrompt, and I put it up, and I just gave access. And I said, look, here they are, and I categorized them down to profession or sectors or key industries, that sort of stuff. So there could be marketing, real estate, talent. It doesn't really matter. And I put 110 collections together and put 44,000 prompts behind it and just released it as ProPrompt.
So you wrote 44,000 prompts.
Yeah.
You use AI to write the prompts for you.
Yeah. So that's what you can do. That's what people don't realize is that AI it needs prompts to talk, but you can tell it to teach you how to write the prompts.
Yeah.
Right. So very quickly I was able to pump these out. I think the part that was a little bit easier for me is that I had been trained by a lot of guys sitting to my left who were in that space, working with it a lot closer than I was, and they started telling me a lot of things that were important, like chain of thought and algorithms and excuse me, and all that. So it very much became an understanding that I knew how to make these prompts work better on any language model. So you'll see with ProPrompt, they're very detailed prompts for a reason. Someone doesn't have to learn it, but I do expose them. I expose them because I want people to learn from it, right? I want people to see what I've done and what I've put together. When they buy a subscription, they basically just go in, they get up and they go, oh yeah, I can see what he's done there. Okay, yeah. So they can then go away and create their own, right? But ProPrompt is designed so people can come in and build their own prompt stacks. We have favorites available, we have projects available, my prompts available in there. So as they find the ones that work for them, they just add it to their prompt stack. They open it up in the morning, they go, I've got to do some sourcing today, I've got to write some job ads today, I've got to speak to the hiring leader, I've got to create a job interview today. Open the prompt, fill in the variables, and use it, and done.
So when we talk about a stack of prompts, that's a journey like, right, prompt sort of step 1, step 2, step 3, or what do we mean by a stack?
A prompt stack is your go-tos for every part of your process.
Okay.
So first thing in the morning, you look at what you've got to do today. Oh, I've got 3 interviews to do today. You go to that prompt stack and you pull out the interview prompt.
Okay.
And you use that prompt and you just fill in the variables and formulate. So today I'm meeting with a marketing manager. We're going to be talking about her branding strategy and her social media experience. She's at a senior level. I want to have behavioral questions in there so we understand behavior on a good cultural fit. We also want to have follow-up questions for the hiring leader. So you just fill in these variables. And you can put as much information or you can leave them out. And then you just copy that into AI and it'll produce it all for you.
And you can take those prompts into ChatGPT,
anything.
Gemini, whatever you want.
The prompts are designed to work in any platform. I haven't closed it off to work only with one. I've taught it that it doesn't matter what the language model is. So some of them are quite lengthy, but people see when they open, like they go into a collection, they open up the prompt they want, they favorite if they like it. Inside it, everything in black is all the stuff that I've written in the prompt. They just go to the blue areas. So all they need to fill in that, and then they just use it. And if they like it, they favorite it. So they go, I'll use that again. I'll use that again.
And are you going to be in a situation whereby, as AI develops and gets better, then do you need to go back and then change your prompts, or how's that?
100%.
Yeah.
So we're constantly updating, constantly sitting on top of them and adding too. So we started. I think when I first put up the website, it was about 38,000. We're sitting on about 41,000 prompts that are in there now, but we're constantly adding to it. Like we've just added a whole LinkedIn collection. People are using it for so much now. So they go into LinkedIn, they go, oh yeah, I need a prompt that works with, say, LinkedIn's new AI feature. Yep, put it in there, paste it in, and they get all the results thereafter. We're finding people are also using it for steps that works with LinkedIn as well. So we have it where people can go in and use it to find also the learnings, LinkedIn learning modules, and go, I'm learning this, and they open that prompt, and it'll go straight to LinkedIn, and it'll basically go, these are the learning modules you need to learn, which is great for businesses, right? Because they go, I need to develop my staff, I need to do this, I need to do that. It'll show them where those are. Yeah.
So it's that time they're digging around and working out.
Yeah. That's right.
What course to jump on and what course to use.
And that's a really good point you make, because that is the whole reason why I did ProPrompt. Is one, people didn't have time to learn AI, don't have time to do it. They're busy, right? And then
I think people like just.
It didn't.
And it's in like the too hard basket as well, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
and don't want to learn it.
Correct.
They don't want to learn it, right?
I
just want it to work, right? So that's why that's the beauty of it. That's why I get a lot of people. I get people that ring me up and they say, "Oh my God, I got a job through you," and I'm like, "How'd you get a job through me?" And they're going, I told him, I said, I've got a prompt stack. I can turn up and I can walk in the door. In an hour, I
Really?
can find you people. Yep. In an hour, I can write you job ads. In an hour, I can do this. And the people are getting hired because they're walking in with their prompt stacks. Yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously, so just quickly while we're still on ProPrompt, like who's it built for? It sounds like everyone.
Everyone. I get asked a lot, what sector do you sit in?
Yeah.
Because, see, I've got so much years of experience in talent, right? So there is a lot in there for that. But there's everything. There's 110 collections across all the different areas. It doesn't matter. Finance, real estate. I've even got home ones where parents can use them to train their kids and work with their kids. So I've got one where I work with my little one, and he comes home and does homework, jumps into ProPrompt, opens up the chat. It goes in there, loads it up, and the chat will say to him, "Oh, so what are we working on today?" And he goes, "I did maths, I did fractions today." And he goes, "Okay, great." So the prompt will work with him on fractions and work with his homework. But the prompt's designed never to give him the answers, always be encouraging, always test him a little bit more. If he gets something right, take him to the next level. So the prompts are designed even for parents at home.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Interesting talking about the kids and a little one. I've got little kids as well.
Yeah.
But by the sounds of it, from other parents, like school's still ahead in the sands. No one's even embraced this yet. Teachers aren't. However, I did hear in the radio the other day, we're trying to encourage teachers now to use it.
Yeah.
How important is it for our kids coming through that they get their head around this, become comfortable using it, know how to use it, know how to prompt it? I mean, it sounds like it's going to be sort of key to a successful future.
It's really important. And you can start young, right? Because kids find it enjoyable to have this robot, talk to them backwards and forwards and interact with them. They find it enjoyable. It's gamifying it for the kids, right? Yeah. So early is really good because if they learn the basics then, what's going to happen is every time they go to the next year in their subjects, they go, "Oh, yeah, I know how to do a prompt for that." And, "Oh, yeah, I know how to talk to that. I know how to pull that out." Businesses are struggling at the moment because they've got senior execs at the top that are going, "Well, I know 2 to 3% out of 100 of AI. I'm really not across it." They're hiring people that know more than them about AI. So they're going, how do I manage people that know more about me in that space? So we're finding that a lot of businesses are and I go into business to do this, and I'll train the trainer, basically. I'll just go, give me all the people in the room that are the leaders, that are the heads of, and all the rest of it, and let's go through how you can help your teams and upskill them and take them on a journey. Or how can you talk to someone who's just come to the business and goes, "Oh, yeah, we can do that, we can automate that." And the leaders are there going, "How's he doing that? How's he doing it?"
And when you're going to these businesses and having these conversations, are you sort of, what's the general feel you get? Is it like, AI's here, I need to accept it? Is it, this is really cool, we want to use it? Is it a bit like, this is nuts, don't really want it? But what are you finding?
It's all different. Every client, I talk about this all the time, but every client I work with, I have to do a massive needs assessment. I have to understand where they're at. Have they given their people AI? Are they sticking their head in the sand? Are they going, "Yeah, go for it," but they don't know how to control it? So there's a massive needs assessment for me to understand that level. There's no one rule for them. Some have a little bit. So there's a couple of companies I work with where they said, "Oh, yeah, we want to encourage our people to do it." And that's probably a really good model, right? Because everyone's using it differently, right? Some people use it for this, and some people are all over it, and some people only use it for work or writing an email. So everyone's at different levels. So you have to take people on their journey where they're at. They're not going to buy in to a new process unless you can say, "Let's work on that problem." And when you solve for it, they go, "Oh, great, I can use it for that too. Oh, yeah, I can use it for that too."
And then take it
they
home.
Buy in. And they buy in. And I think that's when leaders start to see that the AI grows within the business. We understand the problems of enterprise, right? They're protecting their IP and all the rest of it. The truth is, you're never going to stop someone taking a photo of a screen, right, and posting it up, right? It's no issue to social media. It's no different now for AI as well. So to control it and control that information is just the most important part for a business to look after.
I heard a story of I think it was an insurance company recently, and they were doing a training session around the use of AI. And we did a search, and they actually managed, obviously an employee had put someone's case records into AI, not realised, and they've done this training session, and they'd actually put a prompt in and actually pulled up this the record, and they had realised they had a bit of an issue. Bit of an issue, right? I feel like that'll be the next challenge for a lot, right? Is trying to contain that and
It is.
closing it off.
And that's what I was saying to you. There's a lot of companies now that are building their own language model internally now.
Yeah.
And so they say, we're not going to give you ChatGPT, we're not going to give you Perplexity, we're not going to give you any of that. If you want to use AI, it's going to run out of our system, so say through Microsoft, but it's going to use our language model. So the nice part about that is, for a business, is all your documents are protected, right? All your key connectors are controlled, but also your language model is learning off your employees. So your language model is, you can pull up information on your language model. Oh, what are they asking? What are they using it for? What are they, So you get a bit of understanding of where your staff sits too, which is really good.
Really interesting. Yeah, it makes, Well, yeah, I mean, my wife works at one of the big four, right? And they've got their own in-house GPT that they use, and she's had it on all every day. So yeah, we're definitely seeing more and more of it. I guess like while you're here, and you've got all this recruitment and talent and sourcing experience, and plus all the AI knowledge. I'm sort of keen to dive into that sector specifically and understand, like, how do you see the future of talent acquisition with AI? Is it a case of if you don't adopt, you're going to get left behind? What's happening in that space, and how do you see the future playing out? And then I think after that we can jump into the job seeker point of view, because I know there's a lot of people I speak to, and like really senior expert professionals who are like, I'm applying for jobs, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting caught out by AI, and we can jump into that. But what's your future of talent and AI, and positive, negatives?
All right.
Big question, sorry.
No, it's a really good question. So you definitely have to adopt. Right, you can sit back there and say, "I'm not going to use it. It's not for me. I've got my process. I've done this for the last 20 years my way.
A lot of that,
I'm not going to change." You know what I mean? However, you need to adopt, because, like I was just explaining before, if you find one use that speeds up that 3 hours you do every Tuesday, and you go, "Oh my God," and you get a win on that, people start to see buy-in on other, right? So you definitely need to adopt. The other thing is that recruiters and talent sources are really going to have to look at their career and say, I need to become an advisor in my space, because there's parts of your process that will be eliminated, in the sense of, not eliminated, they'll still be part of the process, but you won't actually have to physically do it. So you need to become an advisor on that, to say, okay, I know I know that part of the process. Oh, we need to change that prompt, or we need to change that part of the system. We need to do that. So I can advise and work with the IT team to say, hey, we need to look at that. It's not doing exactly what we're after. And they need to be an advisor also to leaders as well, because leaders are out there going, go find me this. I need to find this. They're a unicorn. We hear it from leaders all the time, right? But to be an advisor to them, to help them make a business decision, a driving business decision, and to be able to say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. I've got a prompt that actually it'll find all the talent insights. I'll know all the unis of where we can find this talent. It'll bring up all the key skills they need to have. I'll write a script for you in 20 minutes. You become a real advisor to them, where they see, oh my God, you've just taken 3 weeks out of this process by purely having a conversation with you of the art of the possible, right? And that's that advisor piece. So you become trusted, because not of just your recruitment experience, but how you can speed it up, how you can automate it, how you can make it faster. In regards to the future,
I think that's a really good point, and one of the reasons I founded Thirdway, and the name Thirdway Advisory is for that. But I worry about the industry in terms of the recruitment industry, because I don't know how many people are able to actually in industry advise. It's become a real sort of almost a chicken farm of like CV flicking and chasing and just numbers, like your point, process. So like how many people in the industry can actually advise and add value? I find it quite exciting, because I think those who can will sort of shine to the top and do pretty well. I think there'll be a big cohort that really, really struggles.
Yeah, look, I think it will. There will be an element of cuddling the dead wood. And what I mean that, in all honesty, if someone is not willing to change and go with it and not see themselves as an advisory to the business, which is what we should be,
Yeah,
we call it. You should be adding value. You're not just there as a process driven. Otherwise, we'll just put AI in there, right? You've got to add value on a level of, hey, look, consider this. It's no different to a hiring leader holding up the process, and you sitting there going, well, I haven't heard from him. Well, the truth is, you should be going down there going, mate, we need to make this happen. I'm keeping the candidate warm. He's looking at 3 other jobs. You're advising them on their speed and what they need to do and all the rest of it. It's the same thing with every other part of the process. So for someone to become an advisor, like I said, you've got to look at what you're doing and say, where can I add value in what I'm doing here? like what I'm doing here, because if you're not adding value, then realistically you'll be culled like everybody else will be. That doesn't see the value in adding AI or automating something and the like. So you need to find, no matter where you are and whatever business you're doing, you're advising on a level of human experience of you as a recruiter or you as a talent sourcer or all your lived experiences, all the fall over contracts and all the candidates that ghosted you and all that stuff is really important. And that's that human part, right? So you to become an advisor to someone to go, hey, look, we need to move on this candidate. He's very good. He's right on mark. He's got all the transferable skills we're after. And I know he's probably being looked at by other people. To advise the hiring leader or the business to say, hey, we need to move on this, that's a really trusted place to be in. So you've got to do that. You've got to get involved with the business beyond just a process. Like you said, tick in a box, here's a CV, see you later. Oh, here's 3, pick one,
And that's where everyone, and rightly so, a lot of people get frustrated with industry, right? Because that's the experience they have is like, here's 3 CVs, I'll just put my feet up, tick one, and I might get lucky and do a fee. So
yeah, that's it. I mean, back in the day, it was. I remember people would go, "You only send 2, only put forward 2 CVs because then they have to pick one."
So bad, isn't it?
Like, it was shocking, right? You go, really?
Yeah.
So what are you presenting? One really good and one really bad, so they see the bad one, they pick.
Well,
that
do you know
one,
what? It's funny you said that, and it still, can you believe it? In 2025, still happens. I heard someone recently was like, "Oh, we'll send them." And this is tragic, and this is what really frustrates me about the recruitment industry. Someone said, "Oh, we'll send them some stocking fillers." And we're like, "What stocking fillers are?" Like a couple of crap ones, so the good ones really stand out. And I'm just like, well, that's people. You're playing with people, like by moving their CV around the market, which is completely out of order. But what like a dreadful attitude to have. It's mind blowing. Like, I find
it is,
and it makes my blood boil a little bit as well.
It was horrible. I used to see it go on and go, "Oh my God, there's no value in that, right?" And it's no different to the other opposite, right? Either we'll send them 50 ECVs, tick and flick, just shoot them out, right? And that's that part of back to the advisor again, right? Just so you do have 2 or just say you have 5 CVs, right? And they're all pretty amazing. Imagine being able to put those 5 CVs into a prompt and saying, rank them. Tell me why you ranked them that way. Tell me what their key experiences are. Tell me what the transferable skills are. Tell me everything the hiring leader wanted in there, and then rank these candidates. You can become an advisor back to that hiring leader and go, I've ranked them. Here's my reasons for it. These are the ones we should move on. These are in the closest locations. I think out of the 10, these 3 look great. The hiring leader's going to go, great. You've just nailed it for me. You've given me all the key skills I'm after. They're in the location. They're ready to go. And AI's helped you.
That's a really good live example. We'll come back to video based show. And probably something I've been guilty of. If I was going to prompt AI to do that, I'd be like, please rank these CVs in like best 1 to 5.
Yep.
That's not enough, is it? It needs to be like, please rank, like what would be I'm going to put you in the spot here. What would be like a good detailed prompt to give a system an instruction to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, sure. So think of all the things that are in that the JDs or the PDs that you've got. The first thing I'd be doing is I'd be pulling out all those key things that the hiring leader or whoever's written the JD or the PD or the rec that you've got of what are the absolute must-haves, what are the nice-to-haves, and then pull that aside, and then I'd work on ranking them. So you'd use a prompt to say, these are the must-haves, these are the nice-to-haves, and these are, if they've got it, I'd be really interested with a conversation sort of thing. And then you need to look at, okay, let's base it by location. They've got to have those skills. They've got to have this amount of years experience, which is, by the way, fading. People are looking more at skills now than experience. And they've got to have shown experience, say, training and developing a team, and they've got to show experience that they've run this training module or they've done this particular thing in the business. And you prompt the AI that these are the things that it needs to have, right? So that way then when AI is looking at it, it'll look at all those reasons, but the thing is you then need to talk to the AI again, go, now tell me why you ranked him in that order. And now tell me, if this person was going into a mining company tomorrow, because you don't give the company name, if this person was going into a mining company tomorrow, what would be their challenges? What would be the things they would struggle with? What would be something that we need to look at? What can I ask them in an interview question? Because I'm going to screen these candidates. Give me some good questions that can help me identify whether they're strong enough to be transferable into that industry. All these things that you would do normally as a human, you just put that into AI. So the ranking becomes really tight. So by the end, when you've created one conversation in AI, when you're ranking candidates, you've loaded up the CVs, right? So you've got then all the ability to play with it. Okay, great. These three look great. Now write me an interview script for those top two. Make it very formulated to their CV so it's attractive to them to want to talk to me. So your prompt is not just silver bullet, it's the starting point for a conversation, right? But if you, like you said, if you arm it with all the key things that it needs to know to really pull it out, you can have a conversation after, because it's now learned what you're hiring for, all the skills the hiring manager needs to have. So just say after that, you might say, okay, great, now write me an interview script for the hiring leader with all the information you just know. So he's now going to write an interview script for the hiring leader that he's going to ask all the questions he wants to know about based off what these skills that they have, and all you need to add then is the behavioural stuff.
I like it. It's like really starting to think ahead, but for goodness sakes, don't put CVs into OpenAI, right?
No, God, no.
And I bet it's something to think about.
Yeah,
people who are sticking CVs into ChatGPT at the moment.
That's right. So you can remember the old days. Don't put names on CVs, right? Remember the old, right? Don't just put an initial, right? So think of it like that with AI. You can put any title you want on it. We're not looking at people's names. We're not looking at their sex. We're not looking at their religion. We're not looking at anything. We want to know their skills. We want to know their ability to be able to come into our business and perform, right? So just give us the details. Here's all their skills. Here's all the experience. You know what I mean? It doesn't know.
Yeah,
it's not related.
You
take it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to have it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, real smart. So I cut you up before, but it'd be good to get your thoughts around the future of AI, and we probably touched on bits of it, but in context of talent sourcing, talent acquisition, search. In your eyes, what's the immediate sort of future look like?
Okay, the future is really positive. The first thing that I get asked a lot is, am I going to lose my job? Yeah. Right? I get asked all the time.
How often do you get asked that?
I get it all the time.
Daily basis.
If I'm on a panel or presenting somewhere and it goes to Q&A, someone's gonna pop up with it, right? You're not going to lose your job. More jobs are going to come out of AI that we don't even know yet, right? So think of it like when manufacturing started and all the farmers out there are going, what do you mean there's a machine now that can harvest my wheat? And what do you mean there's a machine now that can do this? So people were thinking about that, but then they end up being trained in how to use the machinery. AI is no different. If you can train yourself on the AI and how it works and how it can help you in your business, that's that trusted advisor bit again, right? You'll become quite skilled. So the future is that there's going to be even more jobs, more than we even know, because every time new tech comes out, look at me, look at ProPrompt. That was not even a job.
Yeah,
that was nothing. Prompting was actually an old engineering term.
And that become a specialty now.
Now it's become a trusted. Everything needs a prompt, right? So what's going to happen in talent is the same thing's going to happen. There's going to be jobs come out into the talent space that are not even known yet. You might become the person that looks after the agents in the business. You might be the person that comes in, that is going, I've got talent experience. I know how to train that agent. I know how to correct it. I know how to build its knowledge point. I know how to do all that stuff, right? So all these other jobs are going to start coming out of it. The other thing, and this is probably sitting around 10 years away now, is you need to protect your IP now. It's very important because your IP, you will be able to get more work than you'll ever know by protecting your IP now and creating your own twin. So in about 10 years from now, what's going to happen is there's going to be a twin of you. I'll give you an example. I've created a twin that's exactly built on my knowledge. It knows all my 20 years experience. It knows everything that I do.
Have you just fed it that knowledge over time?
What I did was I trained the knowledge on me. So I said, AI, interview me. And I did about 150 questions with AI, and I said, I want you to push me. I want you to take me down things that I maybe know a little bit about, don't know enough about. Ask me all these things. So I got it to train me, right? And so what I did was I've created my own agent of me, so an MBA agent, right? In 10 years from now, companies, like you said, some people may lose their job. They'll have recruiters that are agents. Right? So those agents, you'll go for a job and you'll actually be talking with an agent, right? Yep. Back and forth. The reverse is going to happen. So also you're going to have an agent. So the companies will charge more for you, Dan, to go into the business because you're coming in with lived experiences and all that, and you've got the ability to talk and, interact and all the rest of it as a human. But you can also sell your agent. So you can say, I'm not available, but my agent is. Your agent hires my agent. And my agent will come in and you can hire my agent for how long do you need it for? You need it for 6 months or 12 months? Yeah, no worries. You can hire my agent for that time. And the recruiters and the people in there using that experience.
Well, mine's just been blown.
Yeah. That's where we're going.
And so you'll have agents just working for agents.
Yeah.
And then, will they need policed or not? Not policed, but that's not the right word, but...
Yeah, well,
checked or what? We just let them go
correct.
For it.
And so there's nothing wrong. Just like an interview as a human, your agent will be interviewed as well. So you'll talk to like I've got 6 agents about to be released now, right? And with those agents, first thing that someone's going to do when they jump in is go, tell me what you can do, right? No different to an interview. So tell me what you do. Tell me what you do. What would you do in this reason? What would you do? Agents are going to be able to test agents on what they can do, and then they'll go, great, this agent's fantastic. So all these people worried about losing their jobs, if they get smart about it and get their IP,
actually multiply themselves.
Yeah, you can go, well, I work for this company right now. However, my agent, which is fully versed on me, works for these 20 companies.
So you got 20 times the revenue.
Yeah.
How is it to build an agent? Do you got to be a software developer to do that? Can people be sat at home?
Yeah. So there's a lot of an agent that is like what we're talking about there, that agentic conversational, think of it like a bot, sort of scenario. Takes a lot of work. And the reason why is that, like I said, I interviewed myself. I got it to do all of that. But then it's got building into clusters of knowledge. So when the agent gets questioned about this, that's that cluster that it goes to, and then might be the cluster for sourcing. This might be the cluster for human interaction. This might be the cluster for EVP. That sort of stuff. So all that information needs to go into your agent, and that takes a lot of work because not only are you controlling what information it only stays within. So, for example, someone can't jump into my agent and go, "What's the footy score?" It's going to go, "Don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah,
right. So you've got to control the agent. So there's rules and everything, and that takes a lot of work as well. The other part that's really hard is getting it to talk like you, right? So I always tell it, I want it to be professional, I want it to be humble, I want it to be sensitive, I want it to be encouraging, and training it over time takes a lot of time. So I've spent probably 9 months on these agents so that they do talk like a recruiter and they do talk like a HR person. So I've got sales and marketing ones, and what I've done is I've grabbed people that I know and interviewed them and got that knowledge built in there. But training on how it comes back to you is really important because it's got to do natural language too. Someone go, hey mate, can you just write me a job ad thingy, right? It's got to understand that means, hey, I need a job ad. Right, so it's got to learn natural language. There's a lot of work in it, but I will say there is devs that do it out there and create that, so you can do it that way. But what a lot of people are going to now, they're just subscribing to the agent that they want.
Yeah, correct.
They just go
off the shelf.
I need that agent. I need him for 3 months, and they just go in by 3 months.
I use like Motion, like their calendar app.
Yeah,
and I played around with a couple of their agents. Do you know what? They weren't amazing. They were like
they're not trained right.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know if that's because I'm supposed to train them or whether they've not been trained properly.
Well, it will learn off you as you go, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it should be ready for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and people, because you put people an off-the-shelf agent, almost like bring it home, like, cool, life's sorted, but here's my agent, it'll do.
Yeah.
Do what
the agent should be not only, able to talk your talk in your sector or your industry, it should also be able to also know so much that it goes, when you finish that, should we do the job interview? I've got a script ready to go.
Sure, yeah.
And when you finish that, while you're doing that, would you like me to get the hiring leader email ready so that we can tell them all the sourcing work you've done? That's
thinking ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adding value.
Adding value because you've got recruiters at different levels, right? So a junior that comes in with that agent's going to go, this is great. Just tell me what to do next. And I forgot to do that. I've got to email that person back. So it reminded me, that's where your agent needs to be.
It's pretty exciting, and I think interesting for recruitment agencies, right? Because previously, like key to growth was scale, and that meant more consultants, more bump and seats. So and actually,
that's right.
You could just get your 2 or 3 best, right, and then have agents, and then you've almost like an army of
that's right
of agents.
Yeah. And that's the agentic, there's the automation guys as well, right? So when the automate's another thing, but that also has to know what to do, how to talk, what to communicate with. There's it's called vibe coding is what they do now. So you can have an agent talk to an agent. So you can go, you talk to your recruitment agent, and the recruitment agent is doing something in the process, and they realize it needs to do the sourcing, so that it talks to your sourcing agent. And this is the vibe coding that's going on in the business now, and that's where you'll end up having a complete army ready to go.
So it's so interesting. It's I've learned so much in the last 40 minutes. I'm more excited than I ever was before, to be honest, which is really cool. I guess maybe one to sort of finish with as we sort of come to close is there's a lot of people at the moment. The economy is difficult. People are unfortunately losing jobs and finding themselves as job seekers. And one thing I hear is, and you see on LinkedIn and forums, is all like applying for loads of jobs, but I'm pretty sure it's AI, and everyone's sort of blaming AI, rightly or wrongly, probably wrongly in a lot of cases. But if someone finds himself in that situation and they're applying for jobs or trying to get their foot in the door, and they know there's, how can they best prepare themselves a document, a CV to be sort of AI ready, I guess.
Yeah. So we're back to prompt stacks.
Yeah.
They need a prompt stack.
Okay.
Right? So this is my prompt stack for a cover letter. Sorry, no, this is my prompt in the prompt stack for a cover letter. This is my one when I'm applying to a company. This is when I'm applying to a vendor. This is my, and they have them all there ready to go. But those prompts, usually what I go into companies to do is build a prompt stack that's branded to them. People need to brand their own as well, right? So it goes, I know Dan, I know what he does, I know how he acts, I know how he works, I know his skills, I know his experience. So every time it does write that cover letter, or does write that introduction email, or does do that reach out, sounds like you. And it sounds very human, right? Because a lot of the template stuff that you can do, that's what people are doing. They're making it, personalizing and putting the variables in there. So I think for a lot of job hunters and the like, they've got to probably do 2 or 3 things. One is get that prompt stack ready. So I work with a lot of people online, and most of them are grads or say mid-career or mothers returning. And they'll say, oh yeah, I need to find a job now, and I need to have this and that. And I go, great. I said, I'll just create a prompt for you. I said, and you can go in, you can use that every time, and it'll bring up all the jobs that are available that based off what you're looking at there. And here's one for a cover letter to reach out to. Here's one for this, So I've got a really senior guy that I'm working with over in Hong Kong at the moment. Really high exec, very professional, VP sort of level. And he's got me to build out his entire thing. So he's got a prompt that I built for him to find all the headhunters that work in the exec space. So he goes, and all he does, he loads that up. He does it every month. He goes, I load it up. He goes and it finds all the latest headhunters that work in my space that are doing this particular, because he's quite specialized in what he does. And then he's got another one for his CV. So I go, when you update your CV, run this prompt and it'll update your CV for you. And so he's got his whole stack built out for him, ready to go, and it's all formulated to his name, his everything. So every answer that comes back works perfectly for him, and he doesn't have to do anything other than run the prompt. Yeah, so people
adopt.
Yeah, adopt. Yeah. People just, and I'll be honest with you, he's not a young guy, right? And he's a guy that goes, I sort of don't understand. And it took me probably a week and a half of talking to him on what AI can do for him. And he was sort of saying, but that's too much work, But when I explained to him that, no, I'm going to create the prompt so you don't have, all you have to do is run the prompt.
Music
and he was like, he goes, this is great. So yeah, we still speak quite heavily. And he goes, you don't understand how much time I save. He goes, I've reached out to so many headhunters. He goes, I run the prompt, say, every month. He goes, I found a new headhunter in my space and I let them know I'm available and I let them know I'm doing this work. And, it's pretty cool.
So good. So, mate, where can people find ProPrompt? Where can they find you? Where can they get advice?
Yeah, sure.
How do people access you?
So
You're brilliant.
ProPrompt is ProPrompt .store. That's the website. It's very easy to access. All of my consultancy work is up there and available, so there'll be a tag at the top. We've also just released the enterprise version, which is where companies can come in now and they can actually get the enterprise version, just like LinkedIn, and they can go, I've got 7 recruiters, they grab 7 seats. Oh, and I've got 2 HR, and they can move and grab another 2 seats. So we've got that sort of platform running in there as well. Look, I get reached out through many channels. A lot of LinkedIn. I get a lot of LinkedIn's coming in and chat, but everything is pretty much off the website. Like, yeah,
mega, mate. This has been it's been awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks,
Incredibly insightful, thought provoking, and I think we'll have to definitely get you back on in 12 months' time to.
That'd be great.
To understand, you know, how far we've come and what the changes have been, and
it'll be different.
Yeah, like we'll be right.
It'll be different.
Yeah. Marrin, awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan.
Legend. Thanks, mate. Take care. Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed that episode of Future People. I've been your host, Daniel Moussa, and this has been brought to you by Thirdway Advisory. Please make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and I look forward to seeing you next week for another intellectual and engaging conversation.